Okay, people. Today's show we're gonna talk about is the CIA brought drugs into the black community. Now, today I want to talk about this how the CIA had brought drugs to the black community to destroy the black community. Now this is exactly why I try to say we're gonna play this video right here. This is a video I did right here. Here we go. Here we go.
Gang culture wasn't born, it was built. Back in the 60s and 70s, a lot of them were built to protect the community. They were feeding children in the morning and protecting the block at night. But a force like that is a threat to the established order. And the system always has a plan. Everything changed in the 80s. The CIA was exposed for bringing drugs like crack into Black and Latino neighborhoods. At the same time, guns were mysteriously flooding the streets. Suddenly, these groups went from protecting the block to fighting turf wars. The original mission got erased, and being reckless, being a crash out, started to look cool in music, movies, and headlines. That's the playbook. Flood the community, twist the narrative, and make destruction look like culture. The ultimate form of control isn't oppression. It's making a generation believe their own self-destruction is a revolutionary act.
I mean, this don't make any sense, man. How the drugs was formed by the CIA. Now they started have black people turn on each other and throw each other into the depths of hell. And we end up happening. Now you got the drugs and gang violence in the black community, in the Latino neighborhood too. I mean, it's so messed up now in the black community that it was designed to destroy the black community. And that's how it is. Like this don't make any sense. Like this don't make any sense. The CIA brought drugs into the black Latino households to get people out the house and turn it on each other for to destroy each other, be crash outs. You know what I mean? And it's just how it is. Like this don't make any sense. The CIA agent was designed to destroy the black community. This is exactly why I said this before. The CIA agents were devils in society, and it's how it is, man. I'm gonna leave this up, and they all know somebody gonna agree with me. I'm like, you know what, Jana said. Jana, you know what, Jana, I have to agree with Jana. This is exactly why I said this before. Like that don't make any sense. Like this don't make any sense. This is exactly why I said this before. That's why the neighborhood's so messed up now, because they had brought the drugs in the black community, and then look what happened. Now you see all the problems in the black community, and then nobody's not gonna address it. And they don't come on my channel talking about I don't know what I'll be talking about. If I don't know what I'm talking about, is go play that video I did now, which I had took it down. Like that don't make any sense, man. Like this don't make any sense. Like that don't make any sense. Like this don't make any sense. Like this don't make any sense. Like this don't make any sense. Like that don't make any sense, man. Like then you wonder why the black community is where it's at now. Like this don't make any sense. Like this don't make any sense, man. Man, this don't make any sense, man. That's how the drugs and in the neighborhoods are being destroyed now because of the CIA agent. Now, I'm gonna drop the link if somebody want to hop on the panel. Go ahead, drop the link if somebody want to hop on the panel. Like this don't make any sense, man. Told you this just don't make any sense. Like that don't make any sense. Like that don't make any sense. Like this don't make any sense. Like how the like this don't make any sense, man. Like that don't make any sense. Like, wow. Okay. Here, okay. There go the link. If somebody want to hop on the panel, let me know. Cause the CIA just is a destructive, demonic force that had brought drugs into the households. And they're trying to keep the black family away. This is exactly why I said this before. The black family structure is being destroyed now. The CIA was full of shit. It's evil and it's caused more division between the black community. It brought drugs into the black community, and look what ended up happening. Now you see all the problems in the Black community, all the violence in the Black community. That's why we see a lot of crack era and the CIA, the drug trafficking. That's how we see all the problems right there in the Black community. Like, this don't make any sense. Okay, we're gonna play a couple of videos. We're gonna play a couple of videos and then hold on. Because I already know I'm gonna okay, we're gonna skip this and then we're gonna play this and then we're gonna play other videos and then I'll get back to my commentary.
The story of the CIA and crack cocaine doesn't actually begin on the streets of LA or Miami. It begins in the jungles of Central America. In 1979, the dictatorial government of Nicaragua was overthrown by socialist revolutionaries called the Sandinistas. In response, right-wing groups known as the Contras began a brutal paramilitary campaign, receiving money and weapons from the CIA as part of the Cold War struggle against the Soviet Union.
If we cut off the freedom fighters, we will be giving the Soviets a free hand in Central America, handing them one of their greatest foreign policy victories since World War II.
But in 1982, Democrats in Congress passed laws to cut off support for the Nicaraguan rebels. So the Contras and their CIA backers had to find new ways of funding their struggle. What they found was cocaine. By the late 1970s, more people in the US were snorting coke than ever before. Most of it imported from Colombia. In the early 80s, smokable cocaine, or crack, exploded across American cities. This proved to be a gold mine for countless organized crime groups, even those backed by the CIA.
And today, cocaine and marijuana are found throughout our society from top to bottom. And that means corruption, top to bottom, and gang war violence.
The Contras were soon linked with Colombian cartels, and in 1985, reporters Robert Parry and Brian Barger broke an almost unbelievable story. They claimed Nicaraguan rebels were involved in cocaine trafficking, and that not only did the CIA know about these activities, they allowed them to continue in order to help fund the Contras' war effort.
When Bob Perry and Brian Barger got a hold of a CIA report revealing that they were working in the mid-1980s with Contras fighting the Sandinista government, they were warned by their editors that this was not something that was going to make the people that own their newspapers very happy, and most of them ended up losing their jobs.
At this point, the CIA strongly denied that they were involved in the drug trade. But on the streets, the rumors began to spread that the government was either actively or passively allowing crack to be sold. These remained just rumors until 1996, when a reporter with the San Jose Mercury News named Gary Webb picked up the story from a new angle. Webb investigated the case of Freeway Rick Ross, who in the early 1980s was the most important kingpin in LA's crack scene, and probably America's first ever crack millionaire.
What's the most money you ever made in a day?
$3 million.
What Webb uncovered was that Ross's main cocaine supplier was a guy named Danilo Blandon, a Nicaraguan exile who funneled tens of thousands of dollars in cocaine profits back to the Contras through banks in Miami. Blandon, in turn, worked for Norwin Meneses, perhaps the biggest drug trafficker in Nicaragua, who had deep ties to the Contra leadership and was widely thought to benefit from CIA protection.
The DEA had always tried to arrest Nora Meneses, who was living openly and raising money for the Contras, but had never been able to build a case against him, and felt like there was something about this guy that must explain why they couldn't do that he was protected, in other words. And when Gary Webb's story came along, he not only showed where the connection was between Meneses and Blandon and Freeway Ricky Ross, but he also went into all this history and unveiled how there was a very large, well-documented crack distribution ring that had operated for years, with the CIA turning a blind eye.
What's the process you go through? Okay, you're the guy on top, and where do you get your coke from?
I was getting my coke from a guy by the name of Oscar Danilo Blandon, who also was my informant. He's the guy that set me up with the police. When I went to trial, we found out that he was what they call a Contra. The Contras was backed by the CIA, and it sparked this big investigation by this reporter called Gary Webb.
In August of 1996, the Mercury News published Webb's reports in a 3-part series titled Dark Alliance. The story grabbed attention across the US, particularly amongst the African American community, which had been targeted by law enforcement following the rise of crack.
Tell America what the story is about. It was about a cocaine ring that operated along the west coast of the United States throughout most of the 80s. And some of the money they were making was going to support an army that the men who ran the cocaine ring worked for, called the FDN. This was an army that the CIA started in 1981 and supported.
Better known to us, most of us who remember news, the Contras.
Nowhere in Dark Alliance did Webb explicitly assert that the CIA was responsible for the crack epidemic, let alone that they intentionally sold the drug. But that was the narrative that got picked up in the popular imagination, probably not helped by the Mercury News illustrating the feature with an image of a guy smoking a crack pipe superimposed on the CIA logo. But the story took off not just due to his explosive claims, but also because of another new and highly addictive force that had begun to reshape American society: the internet. Dark Alliance was the first major piece of investigative journalism to be published simultaneously in print and online. The story went viral, getting picked up by everyone from street protesters to talk radio hosts and eventually politicians looking to attack the Reagan and Bush administrations. California Congresswoman Maxine Waters became a particular champion of the piece.
As a public elected officials, all of us must be concerned that our government could have anyway been involved in drug trafficking.
The reaction to the story was so intense that the CIA director took the unprecedented step of defending the agency at a heated LA community meeting.
It is an appalling charge that goes to the heart of this country. I will get to the bottom of it, and I will let you know the results of what I found.
How are we supposed to trust the CIA official to investigate themselves?
What was equally shocking, though, was the reaction of America's mainstream media. Webb and the San Jose Mercury News often maintained that Dark Alliance was intended as the beginning of an investigation that larger newspapers with more resources could then continue. But what actually happened was that instead of investigating the CIA, major papers like the LA Times, Washington Post, and New York Times all attacked Webb himself. Webb was eventually hounded from his job and found himself unable to work as a journalist. He died by suicide in 2004.
All 3 major newspapers felt completely caught off guard by this story, so they fully attacked Gary Webb with a vengeance, unlike anything that had ever been seen before, and completely attempted to not only discredit his story and frame it as a conspiracy theory, but pretty much ruin his entire reputation.
We saw a complete failure, perhaps one of the most shameful examples of how the mainstream press can operate in destroying a fellow journalist for getting at an important story. And Webb suffered mightily for this.
But as people got more and more lost in the minutiae of attacking or defending Webb's journalism, the focus on the CIA's involvement in the drug trade began to get lost. A fact that internal CIA documents held up as a good example of managing a public relations nightmare. But in 1998, the CIA's own Inspector General released a report essentially admitting that many elements of the Dark Alliance story were true, that the agency had known that people linked with the Contras were importing cocaine, had done nothing to stop them, and had even protected them from investigation.
So you had the CIA finally coming to the table and admitting that what we reported in the 80s and what Webb reported in the 90s was in fact true.
Mr. Meneses was actually indicted in 1984. He was known within, my own sources in DEA told me he was known as El Rey de la Droga, the king of drugs. He was in more than 40 files and indicted mysteriously, and people within DEA say that it was CIA intervention that kept this sealed indictment from ever being opened.
In one case detailed in the report, when traffickers linked to the Nicaraguan king of drugs, Norwin Meneses, were busted in San Francisco in 1983, the CIA even requested that tens of thousands of dollars, which had been seized, be returned to the drug traffickers.
The CIA admitted that they knew that these guys were selling drugs and had went to the Attorney General and asked the Attorney General could they not report it. Because the mission that they were trying to accomplish was so big, it was a matter of U.S., what do they call it?
National security?
National security.
So wait, the CIA was allowing this just kind of to happen, the drugs to go in, and they weren't putting it there, but they were allowing it to happen and funneling the money.
That's what we believe.
This is a complex story, but let's try to answer the big questions. Did the CIA actually sell crack? On the evidence we've got, no. There were no agents with sunglasses and earpieces slinging rocks on the streets of Compton. Did the CIA work with and protect major drug traffickers? Yes, absolutely. They've been forced to admit that publicly. The real tragedy here is that as far as we know, no one from the CIA or the mainstream media even lost their jobs over this. The only people who suffered for it were the journalists who exposed the story and the millions of people targeted by the unjust and racist laws that were passed in response to the 1980s crack crisis.
We'd like to congratulate drugs for winning the war on drugs.
Oh, this is real. Oh, this is real right here. Hold on. Right here. Gary Webb. Right here. We're gonna play this video right here.
In 1996, investigative journalist Gary Webb wrote a series of stories exposing the connection between the CIA and the crack cocaine that was being sold in South Central Los Angeles during the 1980s. These stories caused outrage everywhere, but the government denied the allegations, and competing news outlets claimed the series was poorly written and contained false reports. But years later, it was revealed that the information written in Gary Webb's series was true. Gary Webb was born on August 31st, 1955, in Corona, California. His father was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, so growing up, Gary's family moved around from state to state. At 19, Gary was living in Ohio. He was attending Northern Kentucky State University and writing for the school's newspaper, The Northerner. At The Northerner, Gary became the paper's entertainment writer and editor, writing music and art reviews. But his passion was investigative journalism. So just before graduating, Gary left school to take a job at one of the major newspapers in Kentucky. Working as an investigative journalist for the Kentucky Post and the Cleveland Plain Dealer, Gary was able to do what his colleagues would later say he was born to do: investigate corruption. For over 10 years, Gary Webb wrote and reported on local corruption in Kentucky and Cleveland, winning acclaim for his writing. In the mid-1980s, Gary moved back to California, where he started working at the Mercury News, a small regional newspaper in San Jose. At the Mercury News, Gary Webb continued as an investigative journalist and dedicated much of his time to reporting on America's war on drugs and wrongdoing that was happening within government institutions. In 1995, 9 years after joining the Mercury News, Gary was writing a story that involved a controversial California law that gave law enforcement the right to seize a person's property and money if police suspected that person was a drug dealer, even before the suspect was charged with the crime. After this story came out, Gary Webb was contacted by a woman who told him that her boyfriend was in this same situation. His property had been taken because he was accused of being a drug dealer, and he was currently sitting in jail. Always in search of the truth, Gary told the woman he would investigate her boyfriend's case. But while researching the boyfriend's case, Gary discovered a much larger story when he came across a man by the name of Danilo Blandón. Danilo Blandón was a huge cocaine dealer in Los Angeles in the early 80s and had been the leader of the Contras in California. The Contras were a Nicaraguan guerrilla army formed in 1979 to overthrow the government in Nicaragua. The Nicaraguan government had been taken over by revolutionary socialists. The United States saw this new Nicaraguan government as a threat to the U.S., so the CIA created the Contras to help rebels overthrow the new Nicaraguan government. President Ronald Reagan signed an order authorizing the CIA to use $19 million to set up U.S. training and funding for the Contras. But $19 million wasn't enough to overthrow a government. The CIA needed more money. This information was found buried in pages of U.S. Senate documents that Gary Webb discovered during his investigation. During his investigation, Gary also found that Danilo Blandón, who was originally from Nicaragua and had fled to California during the war, had testified in court that all the cocaine he was trafficking in LA during the 80s was to get money and weapons for the Contras fighting in Nicaragua. The Contras, who were created by the CIA. This began Gary Webb's year-long investigation to find the truth behind the CIA's connection to drug trafficking. What he discovered in that year was that for almost a decade, a San Francisco Bay Area drug ring that was ran by two Contra leaders, one of them being Danilo Blandón, was responsible for selling tons of cocaine to Los Angeles street gangs. The money made from the drugs being sold in LA was then funneled to the Contras in Nicaragua and used for training and to buy weapons. But to get the drugs into LA, Danilo Blandón had help. Gary Webb found court documents in which Blandón listed former Los Angeles drug dealer Freeway Rick Ross as his LA contact. Blandón told the DEA that he was selling Rick Ross up to 100 kilos of cocaine a week, which was between $65 and $130 million worth of cocaine every year. That cocaine was then turned into crack and distributed to Blood and Crip gangs in the area, who sold the crack on the streets. Danilo Blandón said he targeted Los Angeles ghettos because the areas were untapped markets. He bragged that in the 10 years he was selling cocaine in LA, he had sold so many kilos that he couldn't even remember the exact amount. This flood of cocaine is believed to be what helped spark the crack epidemic in urban America. But Danilo Blandón also testified that he didn't plan on becoming a dope dealer when he fled to California from Nicaragua. He insisted he did it out of patriotism to raise money for the CIA's Contras, and that all the profits that came out of LA went to the Contras army. Gary Webb wasn't able to prove the exact amount of money sent to the Contras, but he did show proof that Danilo Blandón made millions of dollars while supplying the streets of Los Angeles. At the end of Gary Webb's year-long investigation, he put all this information that he discovered into a 3-part series of stories titled Dark Alliance, the story behind the crack explosion. Gary brought these stories to his editors at the Mercury News, who reviewed, edited, and then approved them for print. And in the summer of 1996, Dark Alliance was published. But this wasn't the first time reporters had written about the CIA being involved in drug trafficking. Reporters from 2 major newspapers had written stories about it 10 years before Dark Alliance was published. The difference is Gary Webb's Dark Alliance connected the CIA's drug involvement to gang-affiliated drug dealers and the crack epidemic in black neighborhoods. To prove this connection, Gary Webb's articles listed numerous government documents, including FBI and DEA reports, witness testimonies, and a pipeline that showed how money and drugs got in and out of the country. This information outraged everyone who read it. The CIA denied any involvement with Danilo Blandón and his cocaine dealing, while the communities of South Los Angeles demanded answers.
And the reason I'm so outraged by it, as a public elected officials, all of us must be concerned that our government could have anyway been involved in drug trafficking. Drug trafficking. That's a very, very serious offense against the people of this nation.
Then there were the competing news outlets, who immediately went to work to discredit Gary Webb's stories. Gary's critics pointed out the flaws in Dark Alliance, such as its inability to prove exactly how much money was sent to the Contras, and the fact that the Dark Alliance used the testimonies of drug dealers as witnesses and couldn't identify any specific CIA agents involved in the selling of drugs who could corroborate the story. Gary Webb was also accused of oversimplifying how the crack epidemic grew in America, as critics argued that in no way could the CIA be solely to blame for the spread of crack cocaine across the country. As Gary Webb was being dragged through the media, it became clear that many who read the Dark Alliance misinterpreted parts of the story. So Gary spoke out to clarify any misconceptions. He pointed out that his stories didn't say CIA agents were dealing drugs, nor did they say the CIA masterminded a crack cocaine epidemic. What they did say was drug traffickers linked to the CIA-backed Contras sold tons of cocaine in Southern California to help finance the guerrilla war in Nicaragua.
The Contras were a creation of the CIA, and so when our story came out saying that the Contras were dealing drugs in Los Angeles and elsewhere, and that these drug traffickers were meeting with CIA agents, a lot of people took that to say the CIA created the crack epidemic, which is clearly not the case. But the impact of it was that when you had all this cheap cocaine going into South Central Los Angeles, right at the time people were figuring out how to take this powder cocaine and turn it into crack, you had sort of a collision of historical events. And what happened from that was you had a spread of crack nationwide because the gangs spread nationwide. The gangs, after the LA market got saturated, took this to other cities and set up crack markets in other cities that didn't have them.
But even Gary Webb's explanations couldn't stop the attacks against him. The criticism and backlash from Dark Alliance was so bad, his own newspaper editors, who originally supported the stories, turned their backs on him. The Mercury News published an apology where they basically agreed with Gary Webb's critics. Gary Webb publicly disagreed, and he wrote several follow-up stories showing more proof of the connection, but none of his stories were published. 10 months after the Dark Alliance was released, Gary Webb's career as an investigative journalist was over, and his reputation destroyed. But Gary Webb didn't stop. He continued to work to finish what he'd started. In 1998, he released the book Dark Alliance, the CIA, the Contras, and the crack cocaine explosion. 548 pages of information proving his original investigation. With so much evidence showing a connection between drug trafficking and the US government, the CIA was forced to release a report. In 1998, CIA Inspector General Frederick Hitz released a statement saying that the CIA had no connection to Danilo Blandón and that no specific CIA agents were involved in the selling of drugs in Los Angeles for the Contras. He did, however, admit that the CIA had relationships with drug traffickers who had connections to the Contras, and that instead of the CIA cutting off relationships with these individuals known to be selling drugs, the CIA looked the other way. The report also revealed the existence of a CIA memo that revealed the agency had agreed how important it was to keep all this information quiet. After the report came out that the CIA did have some knowledge of the Contras' connection to drug trafficking, nothing happened. And there was little vindication for Gary Webb. No apologies from the news outlets who'd attacked him. No big newspaper headlines announcing that the Dark Alliance was more or less right and the CIA had confessed it. No CIA arrests. Nothing. The main person affected by Gary Webb's investigation was himself. Gary Webb's former wife said in interviews that after the fallout from Dark Alliance, Gary was never the same. He eventually fell into money troubles and depression. In December 2004, Gary Webb was found dead at the age of 49 from 2 gunshot wounds to the head. Police ruled his death a suicide. But having died from 2 gunshot wounds to the head, many were quick to speculate that Gary Webb might have been murdered by the CIA. But his family confirmed that shortly before his death, Gary wrote and mailed letters to his ex-wife, his children, his mother, and his brother. He'd also updated his will. And the day of his death, he set out his Social Security card next to his suicide note. And on the front side of his door, he stuck a note that read, "Please do not enter. Call 911. The Sacramento County Coroner's Report also gave an official explanation into Gary Webb's 2 gunshot wounds, stating there were 2 gunshot wounds because the first one was off target and went through his cheek, so he fired again. In the years since his death, Gary Webb's work has not been forgotten. In 2006, Gary's colleague and fellow investigative journalist Nick Chow wrote the book, Kill the Messenger: How the CIA's Crack Cocaine Controversy Destroyed Journalist Gary Webb. The book digs deeper into the CIA controversy with more evidence, but it also gives a deeper look into Gary Webb, the man behind the story, with interviews from family, friends, and co-workers who describe Gary as being a good father and friend, but also as a man who took his job very serious and always fought for the truth. The war between the Nicaraguan government and the Contras came to an end with a ceasefire in 1990. Freeway Rick Ross, who had no idea about Danilo Blandon's connection to the CIA and drug trafficking, was eventually arrested during a sting operation in 1995 when he went to pick up $1 million worth of cocaine. The man who set up Rick Ross in the sting operation was Danilo Blandon. Rick Ross was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. That sentence was shortened on appeal, and he was released in 2009 after serving 20 years. Danilo Blandon was also arrested in 1991, but 2 years later, he was released when it was determined by the government that he was, quote, extraordinarily valuable in major DEA investigations and should not be in prison. He later became a top government informant for the DEA. It's now been over 25 years since Dark Alliance was published. And although some people still debate on exactly how much the US government was involved in drug trafficking, it's known that there was a connection between the CIA and the drugs that were being brought into South LA in the 1980s. And this is known because of the Dark Alliance stories. The Dark Alliance forced the CIA to admit to the public what they had been trying to hide for years, which, had it not been for Gary Webb, might never have happened.
See, that's true right there. How that Gary dude had exposed connection to the crack cocaine. Gary Webb's, he exposed it. I don't see how people are not gonna report on this on YouTube. See, that's the problem with the Black Manosphere. They'll never go do bills like this. See, that's the problem. I break down videos.
In the 1980s, during the heart of the crack boom, violent crime spread like an insidious, traceable dark money. First, let's go back. Like
You know
an
what? I
insidious.
can't play the violence. Hold on. Because the CIA was on some bull crap, coming out these broken households and all that stuff. And then they want to now go on this. Because shout out to Gary Webbs, he exposed on this one, which I knew him. The CIA had destroyed the black community. And that situation has destroyed the black community, the childhood, and the Latino communities. And let's not forget the DEA traded weapons in Nicaragua while allowing coke to travel through the border. Yeah, they did it to the DEA had destroyed the black community too. The CIA and the FBI have done it here around the world. It's unfortunate. Like, it's the damn truth. This country was ruled by idiots too. Because I did previous shows about war on drugs. It's flooded with cartels and the Latino community didn't want to call this stuff out too. Because the war on drugs was real in the society with the Latino community. Like the CIA was the devil. Like that does make any sense too. So now I already know people gonna I'm gonna get some backlash on this live stream. Like, that don't make any sense. Like how the drug and the crack epidemic has destroyed the black community. Sorry, y'all was mumbling. Like that does make it so bad now that we got the Latino community and the black community just messed up now. Man, so bad now. So this is exactly why I said this before. I played 2 of the videos. I ain't gonna talk about this no more. I'll probably leave this up because you know how the black community is. The CIA had brought drugs into the black community. It did the same. It's sad that how people don't want to address this on Black YouTube. Now you said he got the Latinos and blacks struck on drugs and stuff. Like, come on now. It's so bad, man. And I don't know why nobody's not gonna address this. Like, wow. Like, this don't make any sense. I mean, the CIA agent was the devil on Black YouTube. Then this don't make any, and then nobody's not talking about it on Black YouTube. But I did videos on war on drugs. Like, the people within the Black community ain't gonna call this out. They too busy gender warring, but me, I don't gender war that much. I'm gonna talk about what things they can do for the stuff for the Black community. Like, this don't make any sense. So, I'm not here to cause division. I'm here to tell you the damn truth. But these folks talking about I'm causing division, and like, how am I doing that? I just don't get it, bro. Like, you ain't gonna listen to me, but you're gonna listen to some bullshit. People telling you, I'll tell you the right thing. Like, that does I do make sense, but I tell you the right thing, you don't want to hear it. Like, as soon as I tell you the right thing, you get mad. Like, that don't make any sense. Like, and like, this don't make any sense, man. Like, the whole welfare. I mean, I'm sorry. The whole CIA was designed to destroy the Black community. It did. It was designed to cause the Black community to be demolished, and then we'll see. And then we'll see anything have been destroyed. This is exactly why I said this before. These type of people never gonna call stuff out. But anyway, this is exactly why I try to tell people, man. That's why I try to tell people, man, the truth will set you free. Because I'll tell you the truth. You don't like it, go somewhere else. Because the truth will hurt your little feelings. Like, that does make any sense. Like, this shit don't make any sense. Man, And this is sad, bro. How the CIA. I mean, the CIA had done enough damage in the black community. It did. It did. It has. But yet still, though, nobody's not going to speak about this. The black on black crime is real in society now. You see all the murders in the black community, but yet still don't nobody's not going to address it. And then everybody, okay, and everybody know talking about OJ, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I played the evidence, the whole entire evidence. How Gary Webbs had exposed the CIA, how they put the drugs in the black community, and the Mexican cartels had put drugs in there too. To see the Latino failing in the black community. It's the truth. Like it does tell. Like this don't make any sense. Like this don't make any sense. Like it does make sense how the people in the black community is not going to address it. Like that don't make any sense. Like that don't make any sense. And then you got these individuals on here just watching me go loud to say something they don't like, so they just get mad, want to get angry with me. Okay, get angry if you want to. I really don't care. If you're an angry person, go right ahead. Get angry at me if you want to. I really don't care. Like that don't make any sense. I mean, it's the damn truth, man. The CIA brought drugs into the black community. I will say things that's right. I don't say anything stupid out of my mouth. I don't say stupid stuff out of my mouth. I'll tell you the damn truth. Because truth will hurt you. Like that don't make any sense. Like that don't make any sense how black people just cannot not want to be educated, but y'all want to feed out, y'all want to come on my channel, have a discussion with me. Now drop the link and have a discussion with if you want to have a discussion with me, but you ain't gonna do that. Like, that don't make any sense. Like, it's real. I mean, it's sad, bro, that like people don't want to research stuff on YouTube. As soon as I do a lot of researching and do videos on evidence, as soon as I reach it, I'll Google it up. You don't want to hear, you don't want to look at it, you don't want to hear it. Okay. Mhm. No. Like, see, people left. That's all they do is watching the bushes, just watching, and you just watching me for go when I go live. When I say things that's facts and truth, you don't want to hear it. See, that's what people do. When I start to talk about real stuff, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear nothing I have to say when I talk about real stuff. Okay? Like, this don't make any sense. Like, this don't make any sense. Y'all just don't not want to hear nothing what I have to say. When I start speaking the truth, you don't want to hear it. Like, that don't make any sense. Like, this don't make any sense, bro. People just want to tell you how people don't want to research nothing. As soon as I reach it up, put it out there. Yeah, I do research, put up stuff, and then y'all come on my channel, getting all mad when I present it to y'all. You don't want to look at it. Like, this don't make any sense. Man, I am so done with Black YouTube, man. Like, this don't make any sense. Like, this don't make any sense. Like, the CIA had brought drugs into the Black households. Like, that don't make any sense. I mean, this don't make any sense how the CIA had tried to destroy the Black community. This is exactly why they don't want to see us come together. They want to see Black women and Black men destroy each other. That's the problem. They want to see black children destroy each other every goddamn day. And, and it's the damn proof of it. Like, this don't make any sense how the black woman and black man don't even want to come together. Well, I seen Latinos destroy each other too, and had destroyed each other by selling drugs and dealing poison. The crack epidemic was real bad in the 90s. With all the violence that goes on here in my hometown, here in Memphis. But it got so bad now with all the shootings. Back in like last year, man, it was so back in like 2013, man, it was bad, bro. Bad. It got real bad with all the violence that goes on in the black community. There's problems right there in the black community, but nobody don't want to address it. Who are you? I'm like, man, I do not want to address things. I don't want to address things. I want the black community to stay this way. All the problems right there in front of you. And they come on your channel trying to disrespect you. Like, that don't make any sense. Like, come on now. I mean, it's so wicked out there. Like, see, I'll tell you the damn truth. And then they not gonna I'm surprised the Black Manosphere don't even talk about this. Since I start researching, presented to y'all, they don't want to research shit. These Manosphere dudes don't research nothing. As soon as I do it, they get pissed off. You may want to throw shots at me in chat rooms when I present it to y'all. So this is what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna do shows every Monday and Wednesday. That's exactly what I do. Like, this don't make any sense, man. Like, that don't make any sense. Like, this don't make any sense. Instead of hearing something from me, you don't want to hear it. I have dropped the link for everybody, but yet nobody's not gonna hit the link because I speak the damn truth. I try to tell you what's right. I'll try to tell you what's right. Like, that don't make any sense, bro. You don't want to hear nothing I have to say. Like, that don't make any sense. Like, this don't make any sense. You don't want to hear my voice, fine. But y'all want to hear lies every day on Black YouTube. But every time a person like me come on YouTube, speaks the damn truth, you get mad. And then y'all want to unsubscribe. Well, go ahead, unsubscribe from my channel. Don't come back. Too useful. You just unsubscribe and come back, and don't come back to my channel. That's all I need for you to do. That's all I need for you to do. Because you come on, but and for some drama, y'all support that. Like, that don't make any sense. Like, this don't make any sense. Okay, I got one person that's watching me right now. I bet you that person is watching me right now. It's getting mad at something I said right now. I promise you. I promise you. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. If you that person watching me. I know you're watching the clouds, but if you're watching the clouds, go right ahead. You just watching the clouds because you know I'm gonna speak the truth. Like, this don't make any sense. People just watching the clouds, not gonna type in my chat room because I see anything that don't make any sense. That don't make any sense. Like, this don't make any sense. This don't make any sense, man. I put so much videos out there. YouTube don't support it. Okay? That's what people do on Black YouTube. Don't support my damn channel. That's it. Like, this don't make any sense. This is why I try to speak the damn truth. Mm-mm-mm. Boy, I tell you, man, the drugs and has destroyed the black community. It really did. I mean, it's just so bad. I mean, god damn. That's why I say the black community is in shambles right now. Every time you try to speak positive, you don't want to hear it. Like this don't make any sense. I mean, the black community is so dead right now, and the Latino community is dead over there now. That don't make any sense. Like this don't make any sense, bro. One person's watching me right now. I'm like, when the black community gonna address what goes on in the black community? But I know y'all not gonna do that. You're not gonna do it because you know what? It don't fit your narrative. It don't fit your narrative. Y'all seen the bush away from the. I mean, y'all just sitting in the bushes, getting all mad at me because I say things that's facts and truth. Go right ahead. I want you to get mad at this live stream because that don't make any sense. How people just gonna get mad at something I see is truth and facts. I mean, it does make any sense. They got these individuals and they were going to speak about this because they too busy just beefing instead of making something together. Like that don't make any sense. Like, this don't make any sense. I mean, y'all gonna listen to me. Don't worry. No, you say something stupid, I'm just gonna block you if I see anything that don't make any sense. So, but that's what people do. They come on my channel, just sit in the bushes, wait for me to go live to say some shit y'all don't agree with. So y'all just go ahead and leave me nasty comments. I have to delete or remove your comment. That's what y'all people do. Go on other people's comment sections, just be disrespectful. Like, wow. Like, that don't make any sense. Like, I'm off at 8:50. I'm getting off, man. Cause this don't make any sense. You got these individuals. That's what people do, man. They don't want to hit links. They sit in the bush and just watch. Y'all just wait for me to go live to say some shit y'all don't agree with. So they can they when I end my live stream, watch the nasty comments I'm gonna get. Watch the nasty comments I'm gonna get, because I speak the fucking truth. But speaking the damn truth. Watch when I. So with that being said, at 8:50 now. Like, wow. So that's all to say about this. I mean, it's just so bad enough that you just got people just do not want to hear nothing I have to say when I have like over people watching me right now. So I speak the damn truth. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. That's what people do, coming on my channel, telling me, oh, you need to get off YouTube, go get you a girl, or go get you something. Man, fuck you. Okay? So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna end my live stream and watch the nasty comments I'm going to get. Watch the nasty comments I'm going to get. Because y'all don't want to hear nothing that's the truth. So with that, I'm out. Peace.